Public Broadcasting. I'm your host, Captain Rutlidge, and, well, Halloween is close approaching, a time of spooks, scares, and spiced pumpkin everything. Of course, the highlight is dressing up to go trick-or-treating, a tradition going back to pagan Britain, but even then, as in now, the costumes worn seem to pay homage to the greatest villains in all of history.
From Dracula to Frankenstein's monster, and the Wicked Witch of the West to the ghost from Scream, on Halloween we revere the most infamous villains from film and folklore. And, on an interesting note, even with its educational, informative programming, PBS Kids has produced quite a few great villains of its own.
That's why this month we're going to take a look at the top 10 PBS Kids villains. Now, keep in mind that these will only be villainous characters as opposed to just, say, antagonists like Pinky Barnes or Horace Schemer. So, without further ado, on with the countdown.
Number 10. Sly and Gobbo from Naughty.
We've been found! Come on, Sly!
Naughty was an interesting program created by Rick Sigelkow, who had previously brought Thomas the Tank Engine to America with the Shining Time Station. Naughty was a similar vehicle, bringing to America the stories from Cosgrove Hall's Naughty's Toyland Adventures.
Sly and Gobbo are goblins who live on the outskirts of Toyland, and mainly cause trouble for Naughty and the citizens of Toyland. Gobbo is the leader with a pointy nose and raggy clothes, while Sly is a simple-minded stooge with long hair and a clown costume. Both are entertaining to watch in their schemes, but they are more pesky than threatening, so they're pretty low on the list. Number 9. Scrambler from The Electric Company, 2009.
Okay, so a quick question. Does anybody else remember the series? And another question. What the heck does this have to do with anything that Morgan Freeman did for PBS?
Scrambler is a villain to the main Electric Company cast. Where the heroes use their powers for good, Annie and the rest of the villains use their powers to play pranks and cause problem all over the city. Annie is, by and large, the coolest villain of the bunch, mostly due to her snarky personality and her pent-up jealousy of the heroes. Of course, much like the TV series, she's not that memorable compared to other villains from other programs, but hopefully that won't make her too jealous of other entries on this list.
Hey Annie, Gilda, what are you guys dressed as?
Well, if you can't tell, then you're not very smart. Come on, Gilda.
Number 8. Otis Weaselgraft from Martha Speaks.
Martha Speaks is based off a series of children's books by Susan Meadows, but on the whole, it's just a cartoon that somebody interjected vocabulary lessons into.
With a great talking dog comes great responsibility. Otis Weaselgraft is a con man always looking for a get-rich-quick scheme. The one scheme he keeps coming back to? Dog-napping Martha to promote as a circus sideshow. Both Otis and his assistant, Dr. Pavlum, concoct outrageous schemes to steal away Martha, such as impersonating a Polish woman and setting up a fake talent competition. Even getting rich by other schemes like selling flea farms or implanting dogs with microchips to turn them into obedient furry robots. Of course, both Weaselgraft and Pavlum get their comeuppance thanks to Martha and the kids. Some villains are threatening, but others are just incompetent tricksters. Otis Weaselgraft falls into the latter category.
Admit it, pretty good the way I slipped in there. Shoop!
Fine. I'll admit you managed to switch the soup if you'll admit that I have a dunderhead monkey for an assistant. Let's go.
Number 7. Zach Varmitech from Wildcrats.
The Krat brothers started out on PBS as just your average creature guys, but In recent years, they've become a bit more animated, to say the least. Seems like the older you get, the more likely it is you're going to be replaced by an animated version of yourself. Don't you be getting any ideas?
The Wild Kratts team has several villains it comes up against during their travels around the globe, but by and large the most frequent and threatening villain is Zach Varmitech. As head of a tech company, he formulates new forms of technology that exploit the abilities of wild animals for his own purposes. And just like every big businessman, he's not above the crimes like piracy, breaking and entering, hacking, and skyjacking to meet his goals. Of course, the Wild Krat team always manages to foil his plans, though he'd still return with a new scheme.
Yeah, Zach. All creatures have their life cycles. So, don't get upset. Just live your life, do good things, and enjoy it.
No, I don't want to.
Well, we do.
Number 6. Carmen Sandiego. Carmen Sandiego has had many incarnations over the years, but by far her most villainous portrayal was in Where in Time as Carmen Sandiego. Here she's the head of a team of vile infiltrators bowing to her every whim. And her every whim? Destroying the present for absolutely everybody by stealing loot from the past. What does she steal? Small things. The Bill of Rights, food preservation, music recording, penicillin, life-saving vaccines. You get the point. Thanks to the Acme time pilots, though, her plans never come to fruition. Of course, she almost always escapes at the end of the episode, but Acme will catch her next time. Hopefully.
There's something very special I want you to steal.
But stealing is a big no-no. To which I always say, yes, yes!
Number 5. Dr. Two Brains from Word Girl. Originally the kind-hearted Dr. Stephen Boxleitner, Dr. Two Brains was born after a botched experiment with an evil lab mouse named Squeaky, with Boxleitner's brain fused with that of Squeaky's, making him into a cheese-obsessed villain hell-bent on stealing all the cheese in the city to satisfy his hunger.
The interesting thing about Dr. Two Brains compared to other villains from Word Girl is his close relation to his adversary before his transformation to evil.
Originally, Word Girl and Boxleitner were good friends, and even after the Two Brains transformation, the two have worked together on occasion. But as with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the evil half would always maintain control of Two Brains. On the whole, Dr. Two Brains is somewhat of a tragic character, but an amazing villain in the Word Girl Rogues Gallery.
Ha ha! Thank you, Word Girl! Now the cheese is all mine! Ha ha! Whoa, 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 all part of my plow! Let's go! The getaway! I am still in control! I'm alright! I'm all tall!
How long do you think you'll keep going?
He'll run into some woods eventually.
Number 4. The Creeper from Animalia.
Okay, raise your hands out there. Who all remembers this series? You don't count, you're the same as me.
Back during the old days of Animalia, the Creeper ruled alongside Livingston Lion, but soon became a cruel, ruthless tyrant who set up a series of portals for thieving. Livingston banished him into these same portals, but he soon escaped when the kid Alex stumbled across him. The Creeper then continued his plans to retake Animalia, even by manipulating the con artist Tyrannicus and corrupting the core of Animalia. What sets the Creeper apart from other villains is, well, his overall creepiness. Wherever he goes, he lets out an ominous whistle, not to mention how much of a sociopathic sadist he can be, most likely due to his fall from power at the hands of Livingston. What else to say but, what a creep.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Number 3. Every villain from the Redwall series.
Yeah, I know, it's a complete cop-out, but you try choosing one of these villains to be the best. You can't.
The villains of the world of Redwall take many forms. Pirates, warlords, sorcerers, and slavers, but all have the same desire. Power. Clooney the Scourge sought his power through conquering Redwall Abbey. Slagar the Cruel sought his through revenge against his enemies. And Lord Badrang and Captain Clog tried to steal each other's power through the fortress of Marshank and its slaves. Even more, minor villains like Asmodeus and General Ironbeak maintain their power through fear.
Who dares challenge Clooney the Scourge shall perish!
Now you rats listen to me. I'll tell you what you get. You get nothing!
It does feel a little sectarian that author Brian Jakes decided to make all his villains vermin-like. Weasels, rats, foxes, stoats, wildcats. As if these creatures will become villains no matter what happens in the story. But personally, I like to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, after all, in a few books that he wrote, a number of the villainous characters turn out to be good guys in the end.
Understand this. If I say walk, you walk. If I say run, you run. If I decide that you may live, then you may live. If I take it into my head that you may not live, then you will die.
The villains in the TV series are memorable for both their designs and their voice acting. Diego Matamoros as Clooney and Badrang, John Stalker as Clog, and God Among Men Tim Curry as Slagar. I could say more, but you should honestly read the books and check out the show for yourself to see what I mean.
I'm going, Padre, but don't rest easy, matey. One dark night, I'll slit your gullet, take your slaves, and burn Marshank to the ground.
Get going before I use you for target practice!
Number 2. Odd Todd from Odd Squad. Of all the agents at Odd Squad, Agent Todd had the most promising future ahead of him, until he started adopting bizarre habits and eventually left Odd Squad to create more oddness in the world, effectively becoming the bizarre villain known as Odd Todd.
Odd Todd is somewhat similar to Dr. Two Brains in that both were once benign individuals, but turned evil by a twist of fate. In Odd Todd's case, though, that twist of fate had as many turns as a pretzel made of churros. And speaking of which, I'm hungry.
Odd Todd really shines through his portrayal by actor Gabriel Sanchez. Sanchez sells the character off as an extremely unstable character capable of both rampant insanity and occasional normality, according to the situation. When he's in psycho mode, though, then the stakes are hot. Odd Todd will do anything to satisfy his oddness cravings. I wouldn't have been surprised if he made everybody inside out just to do so.
Can we stop talking about feelings and get to the point where I shut down Odd Squad forever? Please?
Odd Todd is threatening, psychopathic, devious, and an absolute joy to watch on television while his oddness is going on. However, there is only one PBS Kids villain to top him on this list. Great Scott, where'd it go?
Number 1.
We are number 1.
Hacker from Cyberchase.
Hacker? Who's Hacker? He prefers the Hacker, but that's another story.
The Hacker was created by Dr. Marbles as his technical assistant at Motherboard Control Central. He started out kind and helpful for both the dock and motherboard, even creating Digit as an extra hand around the place. Soon, though, he started to see through the weaknesses of Motherboard's leadership, and sought to take over cyberspace for himself. Dr. Marbles found out, drained his power, and exiled him to the desolate northern frontier. Hacker soon retaliated by infecting Motherboard with a crippling virus, and began his plans to take over cyberspace one world at a time.
So according to the Cyberchase wiki, his first name is Hieronymus. Oh, Hacker is one of the longest-lived villains in PBS history, and, well, rightfully so. He is intimidating, backstabbing, vain, misanthropic, dishonorable, and overall a truly threatening villain for the Cyber Squad. And all this is thanks primarily to the writers, not to mention his voice actor.
Christopher Lloyd from Episode 1 absolutely meshed with the character of the Hacker. His vocal range and acting abilities were able to convey moments of threat, subtlety, and anger that are so intrinsic to the Hacker's character.
Listen closely. I alone decide who comes and who goes.
While recording, Lloyd even gives over-the-top gesticulations in order to get out the proper vocal response. These gestures would eventually be incorporated by the animators into the program, just helping form a character who is rightly considered the best PBS Kids villain.
Those kids will regret the day they ever heard of the Hacker! I was frozen today!
Right, so it's time once again for the PBS local station shout-out. Now, in case you want to recap, we've covered KERA Dallas, Iowa Public Television, Wyoming PBS, and South Florida PBS. Now, for the next station, let's draw one out of the Purdy hat. And what shall we have now? And we're headed up to the Great Lakes with West Michigan Public Broadcasting.
The main TV station for West Michigan Public Broadcasting is WGVU-TV Grand Rapids. The station started out in 1972, owned by Grand Valley State College and later Grand Valley State University. The station produces local programming for West Michigan, such as Grand Valley State Sports Report and West Michigan Week, along with documentaries such as Time and Chance in Surviving Auschwitz. Today, West Michigan Public Broadcasting reaches over 2.4 million viewers from Grand Rapids to Lake Shore. If you happen to be in West Michigan, you can tune in on Channel 35, with PBS Kids on the .2 channel, Create on .3, MHZ Worldview on .4, and the radio and schedules on .5.
Well, that's all for now, folks. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And also, leave a comment below. And don't forget to support your local PBS station so more programming related to this one can find its way to your home. And until next time, I'm Captain Rutlidge. Good day. Now, let's see what's on next month's schedule. Okay, some news, Thanksgiving video. Mother.
We are #1.